Shalom, Nawathan, Kal Halalim, Wahawarla, Abanawa, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahwishai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of the Great Millstone GMS who rule well, who teach well, and salutations to the elect. Abaratazah, which means Father willing. So Abaratazah, this lesson is edifying. So yeah, quick MOTB update. I've got 3 articles that I'd like to share with you, and I'll link those 3 articles in the description area underneath when you click the title of this lesson, Lord willing. So yeah, rolling in the spirit of prophecy. Okay. All right. So article number 1 from Fox32Chicago.com. This was published on the 18th of November, 2025. And here we are, the last day of November. Tomorrow's December. Things moving quick. All right. The Lord is shortening the days for the elect's sake. All right. End of the year, nearly. Well, yeah. Okay. End of the year, pretty much. All right. So Illinois, state of Illinois, all right, in Babylon the Great America, launches digital IDs that can be used at airports, businesses, all right. For a brief, Illinois residents can soon add their driver's license or state ID to Apple Wallet for use at select businesses, online platforms, and TSA checkpoints. The setup requires scanning the physical ID, taking a selfie, and completing facial movement prompts. Officials say support for Google and Samsung wallets is coming, but residents must still carry a physical ID. Yeah. And soon it'll all be digital. They're going to phase out the physical stuff soon. All right. Remember, this devil moves in gradualism. All right. So here we are, man. The new feature allows users to present their IDs with an iPhone or Apple Watch at select businesses, online platforms, and more than 250 TSA checkpoints nationwide, including at O'Hare and Midway in Chicago. Illinois joins 11 other states and Puerto Rico in offering digital IDs through Apple Wallet. This is a game changer for Illinois residents, Illinois Secretary of State Alexei said in a statement. Your ID can live right on your iPhone, ready to use at airports, restaurants, and bars across the state. And again, to push this convenience. All right. Okay. This launch brings together security, privacy, and convenience in a way that will make life easy for millions of people. Okay. So Red Hebrew E has his NWO, New World Order, satanic agenda underway. All right. And ultimately, the CHIP is the end goal. Everyone electronically tagged. Okay, that's what they want to do, to tag everybody electronically. All right. So yeah, they're not going to stop with this digital ID. All right. Okay. They want everything cashless, digital transactions, and things of that nature. All right. So it's all about total control. So how it works, what you can do, the digital version requires a verification process that includes scanning the physical card, taking a selfie, and completing facial movement prompts, which will be sent to the state for verification. Once the digital ID is verified, the resident's ID will be added to the Apple Wallet. Okay, users can present their ID by their device near the reader and verifying with Face ID or Touch ID, or by selecting Verify with Apple Wallet when prompted online or in apps. Okay, so yeah, there's a little video on that too that you can watch. All right, and the next article, we know this by now, the peoplesvoice.tv, but of course it's relevant, man. So much to catch up with, so much to keep your eyes peeled, you know. All right. Watch as well as pray, man, and be circumspect. So, the People's Voice, November the 11th. Canada rolls out mandatory digital ID for welfare recipients. Canada has announced plans to roll out mandatory digital ID for all welfare recipients in the country, including seniors and old age security. Canada's Department of Employment, in a recent note in Prime Minister Mark Carney's 2025 budget, declared that changes will be made to the Department of Employment and Social Development Act. And I'm sure there'll be updates on this now. All right, news updates. I'm just typing, you know, Canada digital ID news and so forth. Okay. The goal of the changes is to enable the delivery of more integrated and efficient services across government. All right. So it says Infowars.com reports these amendments would benefit all Canadians by enabling the development of more efficient and convenient government services. All right. The note did not give us specific details of how Canadians' personal information will be used across government services. However, the recent message comes only a few months after the government hired consultants to investigate a digital ID system. You see? So we know where things are heading, man. Welfare recipients. Okay. If you're on welfare, Hey. All right. Okay. Yeah, total control. Just like the concept of the social credit score. Any action they deem as anti-establishment that you're going against, they can deduct money and things of that nature, from your account. Okay. That's why they want everyone on there. Okay. So yeah, this is how E is looking to establish his enterprise. So let's go to the book of Job, chapter 5, and verse 12. And it reads, He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Okay. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. Okay. So a totalitarian, dystopian technocracy is where, everyone's lives are regulated through this beast system. Okay. These are the foreign entities like China and Sweden are in cahoots with each other as well. Not to mention Sweden, which, I've been there, city of Malmo. Okay. But yeah, in Sweden, they've been hipping people there for years. They've been doing that. Okay. And China's down with the program. And China is a communist society anyway. All right. It's a top economic world foreign partner with the whole Babylon America on behalf of the elite. You-ish central bankers, all right? Small hats 1948ers. Okay. So yeah, they're pushing for the cash, the cash to society. It's an ongoing thing. All right. Well, people are getting, hipped. Okay, there's more updates on that. All right. All right. And again, they're going to, crash this whole economy. All right. Well, when this devil, is getting his new world order underway, Yahweh Shemashah is going to put a stop to his plans. Okay. Oh, and Starbucks, they're talking about going cashless for some years now. All right. At the same time, we're witnessing the downfall of spiritual Nineveh, spiritual Egypt, Babylon, America, man. Okay. All right, you got trade wars happening. Trump is waging geo-economical war, all right, on these other countries via sanctions and tariffs as well. So this will further justify E to transition this current monetary system to this AI regulated technocracy. Okay. So it's all like a snowball effect. Okay. Let's get another article. The third one. All right. From biometricupdate.com, sorry. Put up on the 28th of November 2025, Brunei Soft launches digital identity system with BruneiID app. See, so various countries on board with this. Brunei has launched its national digital identity system, BruneiID, and everything's app-based now anyway. So BruneiID is available for download on Apple's App Store and Google Play. The platform offers secure, verifiable, and user-controlled identity management according to the official website. It enables citizens, permanent residents, and expatriates to access online government and private services. The Immigration and National Registration Department is overseeing the rollout. BruneiID will eventually replace the country's existing Darussalam platform for authentication. Existing profiles will be linked to BruneiID to ensure, open quote, a seamless transition, end quote, according to an official FAQ, frequently asked questions. So BruneiID introduces features such as passwordless login, allowing users to access services by scanning a QR quick response code and identity verification, which can be completed through QR codes generated by service providers. All right. These things are going to, become more advanced as well. All right, a lot more features are going to be added to these things too. Okay, updates. All right. The app also includes a digital IC displaying a user's identity card number, name, photo, and other details from their physical card. All right. While BruneiID will serve as the primary digital credential, physical ICs may still be required in certain legal situations. All right, yeah. Brunei announced investments into the digital ID system last year as part of its National Digital Economy Blueprint and Digital Economy Master Plan 2025. The government has allocated BND 146.5 million, which is $108 million for various digitization projects. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so information on there. Okay. All right. Let's go to the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 32. We'll start at verse 5. Okay, and it reads, "The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful." Okay. So this devil will come off as a noble humanitarian, all right, individual, type of persona under the guise of democracy that is being utilizing to justify invading foreign lands to exacerbate and exhaust their resources and things of that nature, right? He's going to come down as like a savior to the people, all right? Remember, he has that God complex. He wants to be like the Most High. Okay. Look, they took out Gaddafi. In fact, and I'll go on ChatGPT, right? And I'll type in this. Probably spelled his name wrong. I remember looking up this before. Right? There's a lot of, positive things that, he was doing. All right? Under Gaddafi's rule, expansion of social welfare services, Libya developed one of the more accessible healthcare systems in Africa during some periods of Gaddafi's rule. Free education, schooling and university education were provided largely free of charge. Subsidized basics, bread, fuel, electricity, and some commodities were heavily subsidized. All right? Many Libyans saw improvements in literacy rates, life expectancy, and per capita income from the 1970s to the 1990s. All right. So a massive infrastructure project, transporting groundwater from the Sahara to coastal cities, considered one of the world's largest irrigation and water supply engineering efforts aimed at providing water for drinking and agriculture in a desert nation. And also that currency for Africa, all right, okay, which would essentially bankrupt the European money's dominance in Africa, basically, if I'm saying that correctly, right? So, Africa would its own resources, they'd use, their own African currency and be backed by their own resources, all right? So Africa would be independent from European colonization. And obviously, the powers that be could not have that, all right? All right. Gaddafi nationalized Libya's oil early in his rule. Okay. For other positive things he did for Africa. I'm not sure if he was an Israelite or not, but still. All right. Yep, major financial support for African development projects. The African Union, AU, was one of its strongest political and financial backers. The African Development Bank, Libya was a significant shareholder. All right, creation of the African satellite as well. First communication satellite launched in 2007. So why this mattered? Saved African countries hundreds of millions in annual telecom fees to Western satellite companies. So support for liberation movements. ANC, South Africa during the anti-apartheid struggle. Zimbabwe, Namibia. Libya under Gaddafi provided political, financial, and sometimes military support to groups fighting colonial or apartheid ruling. Gaddafi backed plans for an African investment bank in Libya, an African monetary fund, an future African central bank. So these aim to reduce Africa's dependence on IMF, World Bank, Western financial systems. I'll call this as well. Okay. Investment in agriculture and land reclamation. Right? But yeah. So here's an example of, being taken out by, these devils. Okay. It's just one example. There's a whole laundry list. All right. And that's just this covetous, wicked aspiration. All right. Plus, he masquerades under democracy, but his true evil intentions are showing. Okay. All is coming to the surface. So Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 6, for the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against Yahweh, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Okay, so that's what this devil's going to do, man. He's going to continue to practice hypocrisy, all right? Bring evil doing into practice and work iniquity, all right? And, and to work against the Lord. Okay, while at the same time claiming to be God-fearing. All right. Yeah. And this truth is the fountain of living waters, this word. And there'll be a famine of hearing the word of the Most High. Okay. Verse 7, the instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. Correct? All right. Constantly oppresses the poor. All right. Okay. Yeah. This devil's a slanderer. Okay. And part of his instruments, including artificial intelligence. All right. The MOTB infrastructure that it's based off of. All right. Eventually, it will lead to everyone getting the charagma. Okay. You got central bank digital currency as well. All right. These different countries are on board with that. You see. All right. In the meantime, look at this. Britain temporarily halts imports of pork meat from parts of Spain after African swine fever confirmed. Britain said on Friday it would temporarily stop imports of pork meat from parts of Spain after the country confirmed its first cases of African swine fever in just over 3 decades. All right. And usually I should not be consuming pork anyway, or anything abominable like that. Shrimp, octopus, calamari, squid, cuttlefish, clams, oysters, all right, etc. Duck meat, all right. Britain is one of Spain's main customers for pork, and the move comes as authorities in Madrid activated emergency measures in Catalonia, a region central to pig farming. Spain exported 37,600 metric tons of fresh and frozen pork to Britain so far in 2025. The British people love pork, man. British they love pork. Full English breakfast and all that. Worth over 112 million euros. All right. Up 17% in volume and 9.5% in value compared with all of 2024, according to data from the government-backed body, the Agriculture and Horticulture Development Board. So the virus is a highly contagious disease that affects pigs and wild boar but poses no risk to humans, according to End Time headlines. It has no fill in the blank or cure and often leads to mass culling when detected in farming herds. Look up the word culling. The disease has spread westwards in Europe in recent years, disrupting pork markets and prompting trade bans. See that? Germany's outbreak in 2020 led to sweeping restrictions from major buyers such as China, while Croatia has battled infections in recent months. Okay. Yeah. All right, so, hey man, we've got to keep, praying. All right, and keep our medicine strong. All right. Okay. And again, watch as well as pray. That's all I have on that. Shalom.